College football, Big Ten, Week 5 in the books. First game we got is Iowa 51, Maryland 14.
I was so damn disappointed
Friday night game
in this game, man. I had the balls to pick Maryland. And then, you know what? That was my first mistake. Mike Locksley on a Friday night prime time. That was my first mistake. That was my first
I told
mistake.
y'all. I told y'all.
No, I don't think you expected Tua to go out there and throw 5 fucking interceptions.
Nobody
in the first half. Not Tua, excuse me, Talia. Because Jesus. Yeah, no, he can be Tua's little brother this week because he played like Tua's little brother this week.
No,
they look terrible. It's like another soft dub on our schedule this year.
Yeah, no, that's shocking. 5 picks. I'm surprised that the coach even, Mike Locksley even let him rock for so long.
Scary part is I don't know if they have another option. So I think they just rolled it out with the kid.
Yikes. Hate to see it. Actually, you love to see it. Michigan 38 over Wisconsin 17.
Yeah, man, this was a very satisfying win, a tough win, like an ass-kicking win. Michigan has not trailed the entire season. You can say what you want about competition. I think, and I'll talk about this in the Doves and Nails, but I didn't see a single Michigan channel, with the exception of a few, picking Michigan to win this game. Nationally, I think Wisconsin was favored by a couple of points, even though we were the higher ranked team. Very satisfying win, man. On to Nebraska.
I hate to do this to you, and it sounds like you want to address this in your W's and L's, but is 5-0 really mean anything with the competition? With the competition, considering you guys haven't had a major test yet.
Does 5-0 really mean anything? Does 5-0? Well, let's unpack that question a little bit real fast. Do you think that Clemson thinks 5-0 means anything?
Sure.
Would you say that Oregon would think 5-0 was saying something?
Sure.
Not finished. You think Ohio State would think 5-0 would mean something?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But
then question answered. Question answered.
Those teams have faced a much bigger test than you guys have.
Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? The only test that you guys had was Oregon. Oregon has since struggled against Arizona and then lost last night to goddamn Stanford. Okay, Oregon may not even be that good. Y'all have a loss, and the teams that y'all have beat,
a 7-point loss, but okay.
Minnesota, Tulsa, and Rutgers. One of those teams being one of the teams that we beat. So, I just don't think the competition police should be coming out just yet. We have played who was on our schedule. We have beaten who was on our schedule. We have not trailed all season. 5-0 tastes great, especially when I had contributors on my side picking us to win 5 games all season. So yes, 5-0 sounds delicious.
Can I ask this question then? Are you not at least afraid to see the test that you have later this season? After Penn State and Ohio State.
After doing what we did to Wisconsin in Wisconsin, right? And this is not a world beater Wisconsin team. This is not a Wisconsin team that's probably going to compete for the Big Ten championship. However, very stout defensive line, very stout defense in general, right? And a home environment that is very tough, not just for any team to play, but especially tough for Michigan to play, because as you probably heard repeated around this game a million times this week, Michigan hasn't won there in the last 5 times that they've played. So for us to go to a place that we do not traditionally play well and win a game versus a team that we are not supposed to beat, according to the national media, tastes delicious. I'll take every bit of it. Every bit. I'm taking it week by week, but 5-0, looking at a national landscape where Ohio State got a loss, Oregon got a loss. Notre Dame just fell. Right, like in a week in college football where there were 2, 3, 4 top 10 losses. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, got to be feeling pretty good right now.
Okay. I was just asking the question. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
That leads into Ohio State beating Rutgers handily. I believe it was 52-13. The defense seems to have finally found a little bit of confidence, but obviously they haven't really been tested as much yet. So we'll see against, maybe a higher powered offense in Maryland. Maybe it's kind of weird coming off that last week, I guess, but we'll see, I guess. But other than that, CJ Stroud looks like he's found his confidence. The run game looks pretty good. TreVeyon Henderson is that guy. So we'll see going into Maryland.
We talked about.
No, go ahead.
You go. We talked about being beware of fool's gold for Ohio State with these two games. I don't know if we'll be able to answer that question against Maryland, seeing as how they just got railroaded by Iowa at home.
Right.
It's going to be tough to judge this team in the coming weeks because they're just not going to have light competition. I know there will probably be a bunch of Buckeye fans in the comments talking about what it's just the Ohio thing, but there's just not a lot to prove here now. I don't even know what Indiana is going to give them at this point. You know what I mean? Do you guys play Michigan State this year?
I believe so.
Okay, so maybe by the time we get to Michigan State and Penn State, we'll kind of see what happens.
Yeah.
Don't completely sleep on Maryland because they do have weapons and they do got a guy that can sling it, but I just don't know going forward, until we get to some of those bigger games at the end of the season, what kind of tests we're going to be looking at for Ohio State. Indiana doesn't look like they can field a competent offense, so I'm sure Ohio State will look good against them. Maryland looks like all of a sudden they're turnover happy. So what I will say about the Rutgers game is that Rutgers is not a slouch. And so to get kind of some of the explosive plays that they got against Rutgers, I do think is a positive sign for Stroud and the offense as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we'll see. In my opinion, I know they have Ohio State at 8 or 7, I believe it is. And is it 7?
7.
Which is absolutely insane. Because not only are you ranked ahead of Michigan, who's undefeated, but you're ranked ahead of Oregon that beat you. Let's just say this now, man. The AP poll is trash.
Look, man,
can we agree on that? Like the AP poll is trash. Can we just agree on that? I'm out.
Look. We lost by 7. I get that we lost to them. I was about to say
you cannot lose to a team and be ranked ahead of them. That just doesn't make any sense at all.
I don't know that though. Considering who they lost to versus we losing to them as
but
the ranked team,
them losing to that team diminishes their value, which then diminishes your 1-score loss at home when you were favored. At least Oregon lost in overtime on the road.
I'm just saying, I see why it's that way, and I definitely see why
that's
we're
not
ranked
logical.
above you guys.
That's not. Neither one of those are logical.
Why we're ranked?
Why you have a like that? That is
you guys don't have a real test yet. That's all I'm saying.
You fail. Okay, so is it worse to not have a real test or to fail the only test that you've had? I would say that it's worse to fail the only test that you've had. Would you rather have never taken the SAT or gotten a 10?
That's the AP poll's decision, and obviously they made it in our favor. I
think it's as a college football community, we can all just go ahead and say that the college football AP poll sucks. It's
I
trash.
don't agree with that.
Yes, you do.
I don't agree with that.
Yes,
I
you
don't.
do. Because it doesn't make
Plus,
sense. It's garbage.
it won't even matter in the grand scheme of things once we get closer to
No,
obviously the end of the season.
That goes even further into my point that it doesn't have any weight, but it is also so horribly constructed, and the rules of it are so archaic. So we just believe that on a neutral field, based on nothing really, because again, we've never seen these two teams play, but we believe on a neutral field that Ohio State would beat Michigan at this point. Even if you believe that, you have to concede that you cannot use last season's performance to justify your ranking of this season, which has been Michigan's AP ranking up until this week, I would say. Right? Sure. Two, Ohio State has showed you nothing that would make you to believe that they can stop a rushing game that's top 10 in the country. And that's any rushing game that's top 10 in the country. So to just suggest that Ohio State would just easily win a game versus Michigan today, and that's why they're ahead of them. And to suggest that about Oregon, even though we just watched them lose to them a month ago, is even crazier. I will admit the Oregon is worse than the Michigan. Oregon is definitely worse than the Michigan. I'm not even mad about Oregon being ranked ahead of us because they have a win versus a top 5 team on the road. That means something. But losing that game when you're favored means something as well.
So does the fact that we have played an opponent, a mutual opponent, that we destroyed and y'all struggled against, not mean anything?
Okay. Again, no. Okay. Because I don't believe in transitive transitive wins. So if we beat Rutgers, that means that we beat all the teams that Rutgers beat. I don't believe in that. I don't. It's college football, and too much can happen. Matchups mean something in college football.
True.
So I don't. Y'all might have just been more suited to beat the teams like Rutgers. Y'all have an explosive, experienced receiving core that we don't have at this point. Does that mean that y'all would then come into Michigan Stadium and pick up a dub? I don't think it does. Even if people believe that, I don't think that you guys blowing out Rutgers is what makes them believe that. I think history, makes them believe that.
Okay. All right. Indiana versus Penn State, 24-0 Penn State.
I am sick of Indiana. I am
I am too.
I think Michael Penix is going to hang it up for the season, or they're just going to go with another quarterback. But this was the I was expecting a down year. I did call that, but I wasn't expecting this down.
Yeah, this is expecting this is down knee, bad.
Maybe like ducking your head down, like they rolling in the mud right now. It's bad.
This is down horrendous, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure.
Another 5-0 team that hasn't seen a test yet, Michigan State won against Western Kentucky 48-31.
Hasn't seen a test. You want to talk about hasn't seen a test? Michigan State ain't played nobody with a pulse, and that includes Miami.
That's a fact.
So, you know what I mean? And I mean, again, more power to them. They've beaten the teams that are in front of them, so they've done what they needed to do. I just think, some of the logic that's being applied to Michigan could be spread out a little more evenly, but whatever. Yeah.
Michigan State is definitely, when I asked that question earlier, that applies to them way more than it applies to you guys.
No. Okay.
So I do want to throw that out there. They're not going to see a test until they see you guys. So
yeah,
we'll see. Northwestern, Nebraska. I believe Nebraska 56-7. Northwestern.
Blowout dub, man. I think Nebraska has talent. So then the issue must be Scott Frost. I guess that's just where I'm at. Like, Nebraska has talent on that team. Taylor Martinez is one of the more talented quarterbacks in the Big Ten.
Adrian Martinez.
But they're the same player, and that's why he is one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten, and I feel for them because they had a tough schedule early on, and you thought they may have stolen some of these games. The one against Illinois really hurts in the opener. That's a soul crusher, because if you don't drop that one, you're in much better position. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
To try to do something down the line in the conference there, but it seems like it's only going to get tougher because I think you guys play Nebraska as well this season, don't you?
Yeah, I can't remember what date exactly it is, but yeah.
Play y'all and Michigan coming up. It's just not getting any easier for Nebraska in the Big Ten. How long does Scott Frost stay in Lincoln? I don't know. I mean, I don't know where they go to. If not Scott Frost, if it can't work with Scott Frost, who's it going to work with? But I mean, you can keep him there for our sake, for sure. I'd love to keep beating them every year.
Okay. Minnesota 20 versus Purdue 7.
Yeah, man, I told you, watch out for them Golden Gophers. Getting a conference dub. Getting a conference dub. Over there in the West, man, they got a shot. They have a chance, especially with Wisconsin being down. They have a chance to kind of rebound, not only from the Ohio State loss, but the loss to who did they lose? They lost out of conference to, was it Michigan, Central Michigan, or
I can't remember, but yeah,
it was a group of 5 team, whoever it was. Yeah. So they got a chance to kind of avenge some early season woes and try to make some noise down the stretch. Got to get past Iowa, obviously, but they'll have a shot. They'll have a shot to do something. Sure.
Okay. All right. So week 6 Big Ten games. The big one, Iowa versus Penn State. Somebody's got to lose.
Yeah, somebody's got to lose, which means Michigan's going to move up. Let's see, Iowa, Penn State. This will be a test of wills because Penn State's strength is also Wisconsin. Iowa's defensive strength to me, and that's the defensive backs versus the wide receivers of Penn State. So this will be a test of wills to see who cracks first. If Penn State is able to get 10 to 14 points out of big plays, so, long passes, long runs, special team plays, if they're able to get 10 to 14 points off of just big gash plays like they've been getting this season, and the rest of it is just kind of methodical, we get the ball in here when we have good field position, I think that they can beat Iowa. The key to beating Iowa is making it so that they can't play front-running defense. The way that they got all over Maryland is that they scored early, and then they were just able to tee off on Tua. Tua was already, why do I keep calling him Talia? Tagovailoa. They were, they put him in a spot where he had to throw a lot early, and so he was forcing it. If Sean Clifford is forced into throwing early, that's a recipe for disaster for Penn State.
Okay. I do agree that obviously Penn State's offense and Iowa's defense, a little bit of a stalemate there. I do believe that Penn State's defense is a little bit better than Iowa's offense. So maybe Penn State can pull out a win here. It'll be a very impressive win if they can do so. So I got to say that I'm rooting for Penn State to win this one.
Yeah, see, Penn State had trouble scoring against Wisconsin. So I don't know what that says. I happen to think that Wisconsin's defense is one of the best ones Michigan will see all year. So that's including Penn State. So I could see this being another low-scoring affair for them. I just don't see it going in their favor if that's what ends up happening.
Okay. All right. Wisconsin is playing Illinois. So obviously after losing big against Michigan, they'll probably be looking to take out some revenge on Illinois. So for that,
they will, but beware of the letdown and thinking that you have a moment to breathe in the Big Ten, because Brett Bielema and the Illini can beat you. They may not have the most talented roster. They may not have had all of the, the scheme that they probably want implemented, but they can beat somebody who's taking them lightly. Just ask Nebraska. So I would, things could go from bad to very, very bad. Like Paul Chryst, we need to have a conversation about your future here, bad. Yikes. If they end up losing to Illinois, you don't think, and start off 1-4? That's not a conversation. Coming off the COVID year too. So the COVID year they kind of wiped out and gave you an excuse, right? But then to follow that up with the 1-4 start,
that's fair. That is definitely fair.
Yeah, things will start getting tight.
I still think Wisconsin got it. I mean, at the end of the day, they do have a decent team that I think can at least beat Illinois. I mean, let's hope so at least, right?
I'm sure Scott Frost and the Cornhuskers thought that as well.
Michigan State is playing Rutgers. That seems like a decent game.
Yeah, no, this was gonna be a hard game for Michigan State. I think, well, clearly Greg Schiano's got a lot of bulletin board material from this shellacking that they got this weekend at home. Who's at home in this game?
I believe it was in Columbus.
No, Michigan State and Rutgers.
This game.
Yeah.
I think it is Rutgers. I think it's Rutgers.
Okay. Get another home game. All right, so that bodes well for Greg Schiano's and Rutgers. I would love for Rutgers to get an upset off of Michigan State. That'll really help us going through the rest of the conference season.
Then Michigan State becomes 5-1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is nuts.
Go ahead, get one, Schiano. Get you one.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. And then Ohio State is playing Maryland. I think we already kind of got into what we feel about this game. 5 picks. I gotta take the team. I gotta take a
yeah. I feel like this is one of those games that sets up perfectly for a upset bid. I just can't bring myself to do it because I have no faith in Mike Locksley. I just don't. I don't have any faith in him to keep a team together. I believe they started off about 3-0, 4-0 a couple of years ago in 2019 and didn't end up winning a game for the rest of the season. So as much as it pains me to say, I think Ohio State's going to put up a bunch of points on Maryland.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Last but not least, Michigan is playing Nebraska.
Yeah, man, I expect us to go out there and get us a couple ears by halftime. I just do not. I think Adrian Martinez is a very good quarterback, but I don't think he has the support around him. I think Michigan's got too many athletes. I've seen Nebraska overwhelmed at points this season versus much lesser talent. So I expect it maybe to be close to maybe a quarter and a half, and then by the time we go into halftime and have a multiple score lead.
Okay. Any other thoughts about what's going to happen in Week 6 at all, by chance?
So I mean, the way that I'm looking at Michigan's schedule right now, we could get a good 7-8-0, before we start seriously thinking about losing a game. So just keep it going, man. Week by week. If there was ever an opportunity to try to sneak through that door, it'd be now.
Okay. I like the way that, the schedule is set up for Ohio State right now. Obviously, Maryland being the easiest team, that goes into Indiana, that goes into Penn State. Hopefully, like I said before, we can build some confidence and go into this and, get a couple wins out and then finally see our test in Penn State. So we will see.
Hey, where y'all going? Where y'all going?
Thanks for watching another Back of the Bus Squad episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
Want to check out another episode related to this, go ahead and click that video to the left.
And if you want to catch up on some of our other episodes, make sure you click the playlist below.